what was the one? World War II. Someone commented on the one we did about the bombs not working. They're like, those didn't those didn't cause the war to end. I was like, literally 3 weeks later. Literally 3 weeks later.
I'm so fucking sick of this stupid fucking communist sympathizer talking point. Okay, here's the fucking series of events. America dropped leaflets, said, hey, we're going to unleash a weapon the likes of which you've never seen. How effective those packets were is debatable. Whatever. The pamphlets got dropped. You can see them in fucking museums. They got warned. They said, we don't care. They dropped the bomb. The emperor said, oh, shit. And then they did nothing. At this point, the USSR attacked Manchuria. And then still nothing happened. America bombed them again, at which point the emperor, in a statement to the Japanese people, said, we're surrendering because of the atomic bombs. He listed them specifically. 4 days later, he said to his military, we need to surrender because of the atomic bombs. And also, now the USSR is piling on and they've also attacked Manchuria. And these fucking communist sympathizers jump onto it and be like, nope, they only surrendered because of the USSR. It had nothing to do with the atomic bombs. And it's the dumbest fucking talking point I've ever heard in my entire life.
Pretty sure them bombs worked pretty well.
Yeah.
They work decently.
I mean, that part is the one part that's not really debatable.
So what people they fail to realize. So what they bitch about, or they're like, well, no, that's not true. Is there was the insurgency or the coup that was trying to happen in Japan to overthrow the emperor and make it where he wasn't said. And the emperor's the one that came out and was like, hey, yeah, we fucking surrender, because the other people didn't want to surrender at that time. That's the arguing point. For
Well, the talking point is like, well, just because the dude in charge of the entire country that was literally the son of the sun god, which is the sun god is like the sun, because they had
Goku.
Shintoism during World War II. And so, like, literally, he's a god emperor, and he's like, no, we're surrendering. And they're like, cool. Well, some of his generals didn't want to. And the only reason the generals didn't want to is because the emperor is like, dude, they just dropped a new bomb. It's really bad. And the dudes that weren't there to see it, because they're off fighting in Manchuria and China, and they're like, cool, you've been getting firebombed for the last 6 months. Innocent civilians are dying. They didn't give a shit. So they're like, we don't want to surrender. And the emperor's like, too bad, fucking surrender. So the communist talking point is like, well, some of the generals might not have surrendered. So therefore, they only surrendered because of the USSR, which is the dumbest talking point on the planet.
Meanwhile, their actual leadership is looking at them like, dude, they just in 2 bombs turned 250,000 people into wall shadows.
Right.
This is an issue.
Yeah.
Also, thank you, Brandon. There's only 250,000 people died to 320,000 died during the 2 nukes. People,
God,
it's not fucking millions.
off the top of your
Shut
head.
the fuck up.
People
Shut
say
the
millions?
Fuck. Yeah, that is one of the.
Yes.
They like
What?
the nuke killed
Yes.
millions of people.
Yes.
They
Where?
compare it to the Holocaust. Y'all fucking retarded. Pass. You haven't seen that?
No, I have never
Yeah,
fucking
people
heard that in my
like-
Oh,
life.
dude, it's horrible. The amount of people that
That's
have
easily Googleable.
they don't care. As soon as you tell them that, every fucking time, any amount of civilians killed is too many, and it's inexcusable. It's like, oh,
You're going to
okay,
hate the history of warfare.
of humanity.
Yeah,
like
what
you
do
have a child's view of fucking reality. Sorry
Do
about
you
it.
want to talk about the USSR and civilians? Like,
What do you want to talk about?
Japan and civilians and what they did.
There's
You
that
guys are
whole
You guys are
thing.
trying to piss me off.
What happened in Nanking?
The dancing of Nanking.
Yeah.
Starts with an R and it's not a
They still don't admit that shit.
No.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, it's one of the biggest things. They will not. So
Is it
none
because
of,
there's like no photos?
Huh?
Is
no,
it
there's
because
photos. Oh, there's
Well,
photos.
isn't there like very few though? I couldn't remember.
No, Japan just won't teach it in their own school.
Yeah, and they also
Yeah.
kind of low-handed play the fucking victim, and a bunch of communist American historians help them out in doing it.
I know I heard somewhere like either they're repressed or something, but they don't circulate the photos of it because they considered like Western
Oh, yeah,
propaganda
of course
or
they
something.
they all hide their shit.
That's what. So winners, yeah, losers.
Which,
Well, that's why we-
Jesus Christ, I'm gonna punch you. Do not bring the winners history thing. I can't stand it. I can't stand any time I bring up sources and people are like, oh, well, you need to read the fucking Russian textbooks or you need to read the Japanese textbooks because you're just reading the American version and winners write their own history, blah, 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 blah. Winners do write their own history, okay? Who won World War II? Let me oversimplify all of it for you. Okay, World War II is just a clash of ideologies. Okay, so you have communism versus fascism versus capitalism. Okay, far left communism, far right fascism. In the middle is fucking
to
capitalism.
me when you say that.
Far right.
Shave that mustache a little smaller.
With friends like these, I
Why did you say to my right?
Issue.
So, anyways, it's just fascism versus communism versus capitalism, right? You fucking threw me off. Oh, so on both ends, they abolish the opinion. Like they just delete whatever they don't want. So like Nazis are famous for burning books. Okay. It's illegal in Russia right now as of 2017 to even talk about the Ribbentrop-Molotov pact. Right, which is, if you don't know, that was the pact that the USSR had with the Nazis, where they weren't going to fight each other during World War II, and they were each going to take over their own chunk of the world and be fucking allies. Because the USSR,
Poland still remembers that one.
yeah,
though.
Poland does, you know, because when did World War II start? Like September 1st, 1939, when the Nazis invaded Poland. Right, remember that? You remember 2 weeks later, during September 17th, 1939, when the USSR also invaded Poland. Yeah, you don't remember that because they don't teach that part in school, because the USSR is 100% just as guilty for starting World War II as Germany is. But you know why you don't know that? Because it's illegal to talk about in places like the Eastern Bloc European countries. It's literally fucking illegal to talk about that, okay? Because they abolish the history they don't like. That's the far left. Far right, they're burning fucking books. Capitalism in the middle. Guess what we talk about? Whatever the fuck makes money, homie. Anybody that's got a shitty opinion, you can publish a book. Okay, you know the whole stupid fucking like, oh, a German tank is worth 5 American Sherman tanks, but the problem is there's always 6 American tanks. Yeah, that's bullshit. That's not true. 5 Sherman tanks would fuck up any German tank on the battlefield, period.
But I've seen Fury.
Right, yeah, exactly. The reason that you think that, though, is because there's a fuck ton. All the Nazi high-ranking officers that weren't convicted of war crimes and killed, they all went and wrote memoirs and got them published.
So they were the original SEALs.
And made money.
Well, that's in the mailing.
Congressional candidate.
SEAls are Nazis.
Now I gotta, no, dude. Now I've gotta like go find my SEAL buddies. Like, all right, it was funny, yeah.
But no, like you don't get to be like, oh, you guys only publish what makes you look good while we're.
This is why they want me to quit the podcast.
Yeah, 100%.
It's fine.
Sorry.
While we're also publishing all the memoirs of enemy soldiers after the fact, where they glorify themselves. Like it doesn't even make any. Like that argument holds zero fucking water. There's no winner's history in capitalism because capitalism just cares about making money and will feed you whatever line of bullshit that makes you buy books, and that's why you guys believe a bunch of fucking stupid shit.
Dude, we raised $110,000 for autism.
And my autism hates communism.
Dude, that's what I love. I can tell this keeps you up at night. I was like, man, mine is like editing or cameras, and then I just picture you in the middle of the night like...
It's the fucking meme of like the girl rolled over like he's thinking about other women. You're like, oh, did I ever tell you about the time?
Bro, I'll legitimately like be laying down in bed ready to go to sleep, and I'll just read a comment, and it's just some stupid pro-communist shit, and I'll be up for the next 3 hours, just angry, arguing with myself, like just arguing against the intelligent communist that lives in my head, trying to come up with good counter arguments just so I can beat them.
And then
That's
you go
called
and look at research.
Dude, it's horrible. Oh my God, it's awful.
It's true, too. I can tell by
I'm
your eyes.
1,000 miles ahead of you. I've had this debate in my head 50 fucking times. You're not winning.
I've debated a smarter man. Me.
Legit.
Oh, Hannah's just walking in.
Bro,
anything you
talk
do.
to my wife. She's like, what's wrong? I'm just walking around the house pacing, talking to myself. Just angry. So mad.
Like, this is the shit I've said to myself. And what do you think I'll say to you? I don't even like you.
Just drawing it out.
That's
the Charlie
that's,
Day boy.
that's
Right.
not
The
real
stream.
communism. Did I tell you I figured out the perfect fucking analogy for that's not real communism, by the way? Okay, so like, that's not real communism, right? Hear me out. Imagine we were baking.
Brandon needs another drink real quick.
Here's the logic that goes into that's not real communism, because every fucking time they're like, no, those guys ruined it. We should keep trying. Okay, imagine we're gonna bake a cake, Cody, me and you. I got this recipe, right? It was this recipe, according to the recipe, is gonna cure everything. people are just going to be perfect people. Everybody's going to be happy. We're all going
It's
to
a
jerk
great
each other
day.
off and sing Kumbaya. It's going to be fantastic.
So you have
okay?
Zins.
Huh? Maybe. I should. Where are Zins? Anyways.
The one thing I forgot.
Do you want some Zins?
Yeah,
Cody
kind
has
of.
them.
So we got this cake, right?
Told you.
We're baking this cake.
I should have known better.
And I know what you're thinking. You're like,
Passenger seat? Thank you, dude.
You're the best.
you're like, what is the recipe for this cake? How do you know this? Surely whoever came up with this recipe must be the best baker of all time. Well, that's where you're wrong. Homie never baked a cake ever, okay? His name was Carl. He wrote this book. We'll call it the Cake Baker's Manifesto, okay? Never baked a cake in his fucking life, okay? But he spent his entire life theorizing how to bake cakes and bitching about the current state of cake baking in the world, okay? And he came up with this perfect plan, and I believe in it. So tonight, we're going to go to Eli's house. We're going to bake this cake, okay? I'm going to pull out the cake pan. I'm going to take a shit in it because that's what the recipe says to do. We're going to stick it in the oven at 450. We're going to pull it out. We're going to eat it. Guess what? It's going to taste like shit. Now,
I'm uncomfortable with German baking analogies.
no, it's fine.
Okay.
Naturally, this cake tastes like shit. And you know what? It's Eli's fault because Eli's oven up my cake. So we're going to burn Eli's house to the ground, and then we're going to kill Eli. Then we're going to go to Cody's house. Then we're going to bake the cake at Cody's house exactly how I just tried it at Eli's house. Guess what happens? It tastes like shit. Naturally, it's Cody's oven's fault. Clearly. So we're going to burn Cody's house down and kill Cody. Then we're going to go to Brandon's house. Brandon's going to be like,
Brandon
Nick,
is nervously sweating.
maybe, just maybe.
What happened to
It's the
Cody?
recipe and not everybody's oven. At which point I'm going to inform Brandon that you're uneducated and that you should read a book and go to college, because if you did, you would know that this recipe was going to work perfectly, even though it never fucking has ever in the history of mankind.
Nick, it's good to see you again. Why isn't Cody answering my calls?